One of the things I'm gonna be working on today is over at the Cistern, the trench that Tony and Stuart came over about last October and they dug out for us. Some of that earth fell back in, so I'm gonna be digging that out so that we can run a poly pipe from the cistern underneath the house. That's one of the projects that we're gonna be working on today. I got the trench dug out as far as I want to go. We don't have the poly pipe yet. It's on order. It's supposed to be here in about a week, unfortunately. But I wanted to get that dug out so we are ready to go and get that plumbed. That's what it looks like. Need to be about, I think our frost line here, it's around 4 feet, at least 24 inches minimum. One of the things we had done last year, right after we left, is we had a company come over and drill our cistern over here so that we could put a pipe in it. This is a retrofit pipe. It's 1.25 inches. I think it's galvanized, and this is what the drilling company put in. So they had to use a diamond drill bit, drill the hole. They put this 1.25 inch pipe in, and I think it's called a link system that they use to seal this around. And it's kind of like a gasket with a bicycle chain concept that goes around it, and as you tighten these screws here, each of these screws, it compresses this gasket tight to fill around this and around the wall, which seals it. And then these pipes right here, this one and this stuff, this is all old stuff from the previous house that was here, so it doesn't do anything. We're just going to cut these off, but we're going to plumb this with the poly pipe and run it underneath the arch cabin. We also had them put in this riser, and they went ahead and drilled it. They sealed the bottom of it, but they didn't seal this so that we can get inside and clean it. And this just kind of like lifts off. Looking inside the cistern, this is the piping that they put in for us. And the interior can be attached to like a normal well pump that'll sit at the bottom down here, and it can be plumbed in. So everything's plumbed there for a well pump, but we've decided not to go with that option just because of the expense. It's about $1,800 for a well pump, and then another $1,500 to $1,800 for the control module that we put in the house. So we're gonna use a kind of just like a standard pull pump where it pulls the water with a check valve on this end so that we can just pull the water when we turn the faucet on. Has a pressure tank built in, and that's kind of like the best option for us now. And then we're going to go ahead and pipe and run electrical to here just in case in the future we decide to go with that option. And to get this thing ready, I do need to crawl inside and put in a sump pump and take out all the water, and then we're going to pressure wash the inside of the tank and kind of sterilize it as best we can, just to get it ready for the house. So I'm in the cistern here, and I'm sweeping the bottom just to move the dirt, and then I'll put in a sump pump, and we'll start pumping some of this water out. There's really only about a couple inches of water, but I stirred it up so it looks kind of dirty now. Put the pump right here and monitor it for the water to come out, and then I'll come in and sweep up the dirt. Overall, the sides of the walls aren't that bad. That's where they did the drilling. But we'll come in here and pressure wash it, clean it up a little bit better. Got the sump pump down there. I'm just gonna plug it in and see if it starts pulling off the water. I hear it running. All right, it's working. We're just gonna let that run and take out most of the water. Then I'll go back in there and sweep up the silt and see if I can get that removed and rinse and repeat. Well, I did a pretty good job. There's still a little bit of water in here, but I think I'll try to sweep up all this dirt and maybe get a shop vac and pick up the rest of it. Just finished using the shop vac. Did a pretty good job. Still a little bit of dirt on here. A lot in the bucket. Looks pretty good. I think I might throw a fan down here, see if I can dry it out. Overall, I think it's turning out quite nice. Let's see how much we removed. Oh, about half a bucket. Have a fan in there blowing. See if I can get the walls dried out. Then I'll come back and do some vacuuming and sweeping and see if I can get it done, and then wash the walls and do that again. Well, the fan's been running for a while. Doing a pretty good job. I think I just need to turn it over that way.
Today we are attempting to get more of the green paint off of these doors. We started this the other day. It's just taking some time to get it off. It's on there pretty good. We're trying to put the paint thinner on there pretty thick. But on these ends right here, it's kind of hard to get off. And like I said, I'm wanting to get most of these doors back to their original color of the white, because I'm not sure exactly if I want to paint the doors black. Isaac is there working on the smaller door, and I'm going to just be working on this one, and we'll just kind of show you what we're doing there. The edges seem to be holding a lot of that green paint that was on it, so we're just putting more of the paint thinner on there, and it's working pretty good. We're just trying to work on that right now just to get the doors looking a little bit better than what they were. Today we're on our way to Spokane, Washington. Matt's got a VA appointment.
Yeah, back like in April, about 9:30 at night. My stomach didn't feel very well, and a pain in my left side. I thought it was a kidney stone, and it was radiating, and it was painful, but I didn't do anything that night because it was 9:30 at night. Sunday, it was kind of felt a little bit better. I was still in pain. It was tolerable. On Monday, I went to the Boise VA. I realized that it's open 24 hours, so I could have went. I just didn't know. So I go to the Boise VA, put an IV in me, ran some fluid so they could look at what's going on inside me. I lit up like a Christmas tree. They said I have 3 hernias, because I'm an overachiever, I guess. And the pain that I was feeling in my side was diverticulitis. And I got inflamed, and it was like infected a little bit. So they prescribed me some amoxicillin that I took, and that solved the problem after like 10 days. They also found some cysts on my liver and kidney. I have 2, I can't remember which one. I think I have 2 cysts on my kidney and 1 on my liver. And they didn't really explain too much about that, so I was kind of concerned. My father passed away from renal failure. So I did a follow-up with the clinic. The doctor there told me that my labs looked great, and my blood, my urine, all my numbers were good. So they weren't too concerned. They'll just watch it and just keep an eye out. Imagine a honeycomb with thousands of little cells in there, and one of my cells in my liver and 2 in my kidney have like a little cyst in it, and that's basically what they told me. So as long as my numbers stay good when I do my annual physical, I really shouldn't be too concerned. And today I'm going to the VA for my hernias. They're going to do a surgery consult to see if I have to have surgery and what my options are. So that's what we're doing right now. Then the other thing is my knees were hurting real bad.
Yeah.
And I had to go in. They got x-rays of my knees, and they told me I needed to do partial knee replacements. I'm like, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to do partial knee replacements and then in 15 years have a knee replaced. I don't really want to have my knees done at all, but they are kind of painful. Going up and down ladders and kneeling down is pretty painful for me. Hopefully I don't need a wheelchair.
Yeah, so it's might take us longer to get things done with our home and everything on our homestead, but that's okay. We'll just take it one day at a time.
And for the last 7 months we've been in southern Idaho with Brenda's dad.
It was kind of a quick decision that we needed to go down there because Matt's mom has been sick.
While we were driving here, the nurse called me and said, my appointment's at 1:30, could I be here at 1 o'clock? And I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be there around 1:07. And she was like, okay, well, your doctor has an emergency surgery and wanted to know if I could come in at 1. So I'm trying to be here as fast as I could. And I think I made it. They checked me in and the doctor's supposed to be here any minute. And then we'll update you after we have the talk.
Brenda and I were talking about whether or not we should coat the inside of the cistern with a waterproofing material that you can use, or that companies use to coat inside big cisterns. I mean, I'm talking like very, very large cisterns that are underneath houses that are like 25,000 gallons. We've seen them come in, and one thing they don't do is they don't clean the walls with chlorine, because the material that they use reacts with chlorine, so they use like a rainwater. But we're wondering whether or not we should do it just as a precaution. And since we clean this out, it might give us more of a peace of mind. So we're mulling that over. Don't even know what the material's called, so we'd have to research it, but that's one thing that we're thinking about doing after we get this thing all cleaned up. Well, I kind of want to talk to you guys about my visit yesterday at the VA. And I went in there for a hernia or a surgery consult based on the CT scans of my abdomen. And good news. So what she told me, she explained, she pulled up the pictures of the CT scan, and basically it's like a top-down inside picture of your chest cavity, and it starts like from here, and if I'm laying down, you know, you're looking at my chest as if I'm laying down looking towards my feet, and they take slices of video or pictures and they just move through the pictures and look at your organs. Like I could see my heart, my lungs, my bones, and the fatty tissue around me. And as she started to go through, she's explaining what we are looking at. It's really kind of interesting. So I could see my heart, my gallbladder, and when I got to my intestines, I could see you know, the veins and just like the outlines of it. At the top of your chest cavity, you know, you got an inner lining, and then when your heart and stuff is, and sometimes there's a hole that pops up right around in here, and the lower part can be pushed up into the top cavity. I don't have that, or if I have it, it's very, very small. She wasn't concerned with it at all. And then on my stomach area, apparently when you get older, or if you gain weight, your muscles can kind of move. And so when I'm laying down flat and I kind of like, as if I'm going to do a sit-up, like in the movie Alien, this little thing that pops out of this person's chest. Well, when I start to do like a crunch, the soft tissue kind of raises up like a volcano right here in my area. It was concerning to me, but she told me it wasn't anything I needed to worry about, and it's quite common. And she showed me on the CT scan pictures of how my muscles have moved, separated a little bit, allowing that soft tissue to kind of pop up. And as long as I still have the lining right there, there's nothing really to worry about. And so that made me feel better, you know, because I can do a crunch and I can push on it. It doesn't hurt or anything, but I was just like, man, what is this? What's going on right here? I don't need to worry about that. And then as she moved lower to my umbilical, she noticed, it's kind of hard to see on the pictures, but I think the ER doctor in Boise just wanted to be cautious, and so that's why they referred me to this doctor. But I have a very, very small umbilical type hole. Like it's smaller than, if you look at the end of a pin, the body of a pin, it's about that big. And if I push on it, and she pushed on it, she could barely feel it, and it's not giving me any issues. She wasn't worried about that either. In my growing area on my right side, there's like some fatty tissue there, another little small hernia, and we checked that out and pushed on it. And again, looking at the pictures, you could see some separation on one side versus the other side, and so that's why they were thinking it was kind of like a hernia. Basically, I'm okay, she said, not to do anything superhuman, but I could do normal lifting, I could pick up stuff, I can cut my lumber, build the house, and do all that stuff. Just if I feel something or it changes later, I can always come in and have surgery. Brenda and Isaac are still working on the door, and I'm gonna be framing up the rough opening so we can put the front door in.
I'm gonna start marking the doors. So I gotta go all the way to the floor because I gotta cut out this bottom plate. But 82.5. I just got a call from the RN at the hospice center, and they told me my mom has turned the corner, I guess, for the worse. And she's about 106 pounds. Normally, in her healthy weight, forgive me, Mom, she was about 160, 170. And the last time she weighed in when we were up there, she's around 130. She's lost quite a bit of weight in about a month. You know, it's expected. You know, it's still hard to deal with. So I wanted to let you guys know. We don't know when it's gonna be, but they said if anybody wanted to come see her, now would be the time to do it, just so that she's still coherent and everything, and she could pass away in her sleep, which would be the best case scenario in my opinion. You know, we're a family of believers, so even though it's hard dealing with it, we know where she's gonna be. So just wanted to give you guys that update.
All right, so Matt's got the door cut out. I'll just show you. I'll turn you around and let you see what it looks like. So there's the opening, and right now Matt's outside cutting the jacks. And we've got a king right here and another king on this side, so we'll get the two jacks on the end pieces there. And then we'll get the header put up here and get the door put in. And as you can see, Isaac's out there mowing the lawn. All right, so do you have it all in?
I think so. I think we're good.
Okay.
I can start cutting it out with the router. You need to drill the holes and cut it out. It's time to start routing.
Parmesan cheese. All right, we got a door. opening, I should say. Looks pretty good. Awesome.
So Brenda's putting the flashing on right here. And once we get that on, when we set the door in, we're going to use, I think it's called Lexel. Is that right?
Yes.
We're going to run the flashing all the way up the door so it properly seals. Brenda's putting down a good bead of Lexel, which is a waterproofing sealant.
There you go, baby.
Well, we got the door in, but it is not a success. Well, we followed the instructions online about the rough opening, and I think we need another 1/2 inch. It's really, really tight, and the top of the door isn't closing correctly. So this part of the door, I just have a shim in here just to keep it shut, but it's about like a 1/2 inch short as it goes around there. And if I push this way, you know, it lines itself right, but I'm just so close to my jack stud that it's not lining up, and over here I'm like right up against it. So I may have to cut this thing out and do it again and give myself a little bit more room, but just following the instructions online, I just don't think I have enough room here.
All right, so yesterday Matt left you off letting you know that we did not get the door level and squared. So today we got all the screws put in on the sides, on each side, and now it looks like it is plumb. So I'll show you the door is shut, and we're gonna have to go get a handle, a door handle on that, and it should shut pretty well.